And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the show, 888-659-3727. Now that was hot for some reason, Andrew, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, listen guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the live broadcast of The Bald Truth. It's been a couple of weeks, and it's so great to be here. I think it's been a couple of weeks. But as you guys know, I have been traveling back and forth, back east. My dad is, he's really old, and he's going through some major changes, and I have been doing my best to, be a part of that, to make sure that I am available and visible in a time where, I have no idea. It could be a month, it could be a year. When a guy is as old as my father and dealing with the issues that he has, that is just the way that it is. And if he was doing a little better, I would have brought him out here, obviously, but that's not the case. So I appreciate all of you guys bearing with me, all of you guys who've been writing me, wondering when the next live show is. Well, it's tonight, and it's great to be here. Phone number 888-659-3727. And, if you're new to the broadcast, don't know who I am or why I'm here, I'll tell you who I am. I'm a consumer advocate for men and women dealing with hair loss. I am the author of a very well-known book on the subject of the prevention and treatment of hair loss called The Bald Truth. And I'm also the author of a book that was written specifically for women called The Truth About Women's Hair Loss. And I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association and a guy who has been dealing with hair loss for an extremely long time. I am now 48 years old. I started to lose my hair at the tender age of about 21. That's when I really started to notice it. And that's really funny. If you knew who was calling, you guys would really laugh. And that's very, very funny. And, I was a guy who, when he started to lose his hair, was not equipped to deal with the process of hair loss. I just couldn't deal with it. It's something that made me extremely unhappy. It's something that I was not prepared for because, while I had some distant relatives and, uncles on my father's side who were not my uncles, but I guess my great uncles who I never met, apparently they were all bald at a young age. My immediate family, my father's brothers and my mother's family, and my father himself didn't, at least to me, I didn't notice any hair loss. My father was obviously, I was a kid, so he was much taller than me. And apparently he had a bald spot for a very long time, but he was able to comb his hair back, make himself look like he had a full head of hair, at least to a kid. And it was not something that I was prepared for. It wasn't something that I really thought I would have to deal with, especially at such a young age. So when it hit me like a ton of effing bricks. It came out of nowhere. I had no idea that this was going to happen, and I got to tell you, I didn't like it. So what I did is I did exactly what you guys are doing today, except back when I started to lose my hair, it was the dark ages of hair loss. And sadly, all we had were ads in the back of the newspaper and magazines, and there were some infomercials back in the day as well. Things like the Helsinki formula and all the crap that was sold, that really, there was really no hope as far as stopping the progression of your hair loss with any product that was being sold out there. They didn't exist. Minoxidil was not approved for hair loss yet. There was no finasteride that, when I started, it wasn't approved for hair loss until 1998. So there was really nothing. And luckily, I decided to learn everything I needed to learn about trying to do something about my hair. And along the way, pretty early on, I realized that the entire industry was shit. That everyone that I spoke with, everyone had the solution for me. But I knew in my gut that that this stuff wasn't going to work. Now, I tried a lot of this stuff, and I spent thousands of dollars on all kinds of useless lotions and potions and massages and everything that you can imagine to try to stop my hair. I saw trichologists. And it wasn't until I read an article in the New York Times, and I think it was in '93, about the drug Proscar, Merck's drug for benign prostate hyperplasia, that had this interesting side effect of growing hair or stopping the progressions of hair loss in men who were using it for prostate enlargement. And that Merck was testing it for hair loss, and that it might one day be the first approved drug for the treatment of male pattern baldness. And when I read that article, I got my ass to my doctor, and I brought him this article, and I said, I want to try this drug. And it took me about a year before I had the courage to take it, because I was seeing somebody else about hair loss, and they were telling me that if I decided to take this drug, I would basically turn myself into a woman. I would be impotent. I would have, lose my some of my male characteristics. I would grow boobs. I would get a lot of body fat. And they were really basing that assumption on the earlier drugs that were being used for benign prostate hyperplasia, but not on this particular drug. So after about a year of wasting my time and continuing to lose hair, buying this other guy's bullshit product, in my opinion, I decided to get on the drug. And I took that chance, and I will tell you that the rest is history. It is because of my use of finasteride and my ability to stop the progression of my hair loss at the time, slow it significantly, and regrow hair, that I decided to write my book, my first book, and to kind of give other hair loss sufferers, guys just like me, an inside look at the reality of the hair loss industry. And I have to tell you, the last 15 years have been a tremendous for me in my journey as well. It has been a cathartic journey, having the ability to get this information out there and speak to so many, literally thousands of men and women who are dealing with this issue in different ways. But like I say, every time I'm on the air, it's important that you all know that this isn't just a show to tell you how to get your hair back or to stop your hair loss. It's really about a support group, an on-air and now online support group for men and women who are dealing with something that society doesn't allow us to deal with. And when I was in my worst state, in my most hurtful time in my life, and for some reason all the phone lines just dropped. I hope I'm not having problems with the phone. There was really no one to turn to. There was no one to talk to. There was nothing out there available to me. And a lot of the guys who were my age really got fucked over. Now, it's still happening today, but back in the day, it was bad, especially when it came to surgery, because there was nothing out there. There was no one to really ask advice of and get advice from, except, sadly, people who were selling you some bullshit. Things are so different today, and I think the younger guys and the guys who are just unfortunately getting involved in hair loss or noticing their hair loss and kind of crossing that threshold, have so much more opportunity to get good information. But sadly, a lot of this information is cluttered and littered with bullshit. And now, the internet is just rampant with just nonsense. What you read on the message forums and the misinformation and the disinformation and the way that certain conversations on message forums are led. It can really, in my view, be extremely dangerous unless you understand how to read between the lines. You need to take what is said online in some cases with a grain of salt, in some cases, having reasonable expectations about what's being said and what's being offered, and moving forward and do your due diligence. If you're going to buy a product, you should speak to someone who's really used that product and has benefited from that product. If you're going to get a hair transplant, it's great to get the information online and to really kind of gather like a dossier and get all the information you need to make, an educated decision. But then speak to patients who've had the surgery with that particular surgeon and that particular team. Speak and see a patient who has the exact same hair characteristics, if possible, as you do. The same skin to hair characteristics. The only way you're really going to become well-informed is to do your own due diligence and to be lazy and just expect people on message forums to guide you. In some cases can end up disastrous because there are so many varying agendas on these message forums. And I will tell you that sadly, this includes Bald Truth Talk. Because no matter how much we try to do, there are companies and there are people who will slip through the cracks, who have their own agendas. And frankly, they're usually selling a product or a service. So you need to be careful. The phone number is 888-659-3727. Now, we dropped, all of the phone lines dropped, so let me see if the phones are even working now. It's very possible that I'm having that same problem where people can't actually hear me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if Suncast is in the room or if Andrew Zarian is available, if they can call the phone line to make sure that it's actually working tonight. I could still be having the same trouble that I have with Time Warner. So I know that I'm sure Joe was on the line and there are two other lines lit and then they just dropped. So it's possible that they didn't hear me. So Andrew, if you're in the room or if Suncast is in the room, call the phone number 888-659-3727. I know that Joe Tillman is actually supposed to call in tonight at some point, maybe around 5:30. He had some interesting things that he wanted to discuss. If you are unfamiliar with Joe, then you're probably living under a rock, because Joe Tillman, known as Joe Tronic Online, is really the original online mentor for hair transplantation. He's a guy who was the first ever to go out there and go full face, do the full Monty, and get his story out and share the details of his journey online. And I have to tell you, man, it was powerful, and it changed the field completely. The field would not be what it is today, in my view, if it wasn't for Joe Tillman. And I do not think he gets enough credit for that. The newer guys who are online have no idea what guys like Joe have done for the field and have done for consumer education. So I think it's important. Let's see who this is. Let's hope that we can take the call. Hey, you're on the air. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, what's up? How are you guys?
Hey, I'm okay. What's happening? Who's this?
Let me turn off my speakerphone. Hey, what's up, Spencer?
Hey, man.
It's Sam.
Oh, Sam, what's happening? Are you able to hear me well tonight?
Yeah, I hear very well.
All right, good, man. So what's happening? How are you?
Yeah, I've been out of the loop for a bit, so I decided to join the show for today.
Well, I've been out of the loop. I've been out of the loop for a bit as well, so I don't think you missed anything. And, as you guys know, since I changed rigs and since I moved to the new studio, it has been an endless battle to keep this thing running. But I think we're okay for now. So let me see if I could actually take Sam's call. Sam, I'm sorry about that, man.
No worries, no worries.
So, you were asking about, I'm assuming you're asking about Follica and the news that came out on June 3rd. Well, yeah, I mean, according to Katsuralis and according to Follica, they have been able to basically regrow brand new hair follicles in humans.
Amazing.
I think that's pretty amazing. It's not quite cloning. It's not as though they are replicating the exact same hair follicle, but this could be, in my view, even more effective as far as a cure for hair loss in the future. So it's exciting stuff. But again, we are still relatively, I mean, this is still a relatively new phenomenon. We don't know when any of this is going to come to market, and hopefully it will. And I just think that these are things that people should be cautiously optimistic about. Now, it sounds like you're either breathing into the phone very heavily or you're like in the wind.
Oh, I'm not. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Actually, no, I'm not at all. But it could be. It's a little bit of a. I don't know. Echo maybe.
So what
well, that's
else?
great news. It's great to know it's realistic. That's pretty awesome.
Well, this is the problem that I see. I do believe it's realistic, but I see these guys on Bald Truth Talk message forums in the cutting edge future treatment section who, they spend a tremendous amount of time there just, hoping for new news, like almost every day, like something new is going to happen. And what I would love for them to just, at some point, just kind of realize, listen, it will happen eventually. But don't spend all of your precious time, especially your youth, and so many hours a day on the message forum. Listen, it's
totally
good.
Agree.
Honestly, it's good for me. It's great for traffic. That's terrific. But I would much rather see these young guys figure out a way to live their life with their current condition, with their current hair loss, and try to figure out a way to evolve and to live and to enjoy their lives. And then when this happens, they'll be privy to it because they're still going to be part of the message forum. They're going to be able to still interact and be involved with what's cutting edge. But to spend the hours that some of these guys spend, I'm like, I just wish they would get out and do something and just enjoy themselves a little bit more.
Couldn't agree more. And just to comment on that, and I had another question, but just to comment on that, it's good to know that it's no longer. I mean, it's still theory, but it has a realistic touch to it now. So I think that shows that all these talks from these companies. I mean, some of them are real and they're coming to life, and we can see that. We don't need to see it. I'm personally seeing a cure coming tomorrow. We all know that's not going to happen, but to see that this stuff is real and these theories are actually coming to life, I think that gives us real hope that I know this 5-year talk, but in 5 years from now, we will very likely have something a lot more efficient than what we have now.
Well, we've been saying that for a long time, and I hope that's the case. When I started doing this almost 15 years ago, the mantra was 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. Granted, back then, all we had was minoxidil and finasteride, and then dutasteride was finally approved for benign prostate hyperplasia. So we had another tool in our arsenal. Not much has changed as far as.
It's been approved by the FDA?
Well, it was approved by the FDA for prostate enlargement, not for hair loss.
Well, that's crazy. Dutasteride. That's very interesting. It seemed like it.
Well, it was approved in 2000, so it was approved 13 years ago. So. What I'm saying is
Dutasteride?
Dutasteride was approved for benign prostate hyperplasia 13 years ago.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it has never been approved for hair loss. But I guess my point is that when I started, there were two things that were recently approved, especially finasteride. Then everyone was waiting for dutasteride. It may have been 2001, actually. But it was around 2000, 2001. So we've had these three treatments that are effective for a very, very long time, and not much has changed as far as what's happening with treatments, except we have bimidprost now, which is Latisse, and that's going through in a stronger formulation that hopefully will be a great adjunct, or it may help the guys that are so shit scared to use finasteride. This may be another option for them. But as far as what's happening with the holy grail of hair multiplication or hair neogenesis, we are getting much closer. But I hate for guys.
Awesome.
I just hate for guys to think that it's going to be in 2 years or 3 years. It may not be. Now let me ask you a question. You're answering me kind of like, is it still staccato? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, good.
I actually just had I just wanted to update everyone on something that I'm doing. I know that I actually want to talk about finasteride too for a second. I know I'm kind of a fanatic on the herbal supplements, and I know that you're a fan, but you're not really a fan of the herbal supplements. But I just wanted to give people an update because I started a black tea extract about a month and a half ago, and I don't know, because even when I was regrowing a bit of hair with whatever I was doing, I kept shedding. Now that I started taking black tea extract and grape seed extract, my shedding has pretty much stopped. So for me, that's huge. And I had a very hard time getting my shedding stopped, even when I was doing treatments that were regrowing hair. So I just want to let people know that, for me, it kind of worked. And as for finasteride, yes, I am a little shit scared. But if whatever I'm doing now stops working and I start losing my hair, I'm going to consider finasteride. But for me, I would rather try other stuff and try to get all the benefits I can, or as much as I can for now, and buy some more time till maybe some of these things come to life. So I'm waiting kind of in a positive way. Like, I'm doing stuff to buy more time, so maybe I can get on Bimatoprost in a couple of years. But if that fails, in the meantime, I definitely will consider finasteride.
Well, listen, I think that if you are honestly seeing results, and I'm sure that you are, with what you're taking, and let everybody know exactly what you're using now.
Oh, okay. I don't. I have to check the dosage, but I go on Swanson vitamins. I hate saying companies because it sounds like I'm promoting them, but
it's okay.
I go on Swanson vitamins, and I order the pills from there. They're kind of stronger than the stores around New York. Yeah. And you know what? I'm really seeing results, and I know that hair doesn't grow back by itself. By itself, hair that's fallen out doesn't grow back on its own. So, I mean, I'm pretty confident this stuff is working and pretty well. So for me, I seem to be a really good responder to these kind of things. Well, I don't know how much minoxidil is doing for me. I am taking that.
Yeah, well, that's
I've been taking that for a while already.
What's interesting is that when I wrote my first book many years ago, I wrote a chapter on herbal supplementation and hair loss, and I was a big believer in it. And but over the years, it's at least just anecdotally, it appeared that.
Oh, for sure. And it will always be. For a very long time it will be.
Right,
There's no incentive to do testing on that.
Well, that's true. But, but it did appear that even though I wrote this chapter, and sadly, in my view, because I wrote this chapter, certain companies came out with their concoctions of saw palmetto, pygium, africanium, and stinging nettle based on the specifications of the Bald Truth book. I don't believe that I've ever met anybody who's really benefited the way that I thought they would benefit when I wrote that chapter. So I've kind of turned my back on it, or maybe turned sideways a little bit on that. And when I hear stories like yours, I think to myself, well, you know what? Maybe there still is something to it, and maybe some people do react to these, DHT, these natural supplemental DHT lowering agents, where maybe the vast majority don't, but maybe guys like yourself for some reason.
Yeah,
it works.
And I even posted some pictures on the forum of when I was taking emu oil. I got great results initially from emu oil. I think I've come a very long way since 2 years, a year and a half, that I've been treating my hair loss with all different sorts of pills and that kind of stuff. I think I've come a very, very positive way, and I think I've really, really made a change on my hair, and overall the density is much thicker. And I'm really, really happy, overall. And I know that, it could be that RU stuff. It can come off effective and wear off. I mean, I don't know. And like you said, no one knows what we take, what the result is with the stuff that we put in our body. And if this stuff stops working, I mean, finasteride is waiting there. I'll gladly take it if I need to take it.
Well, it is waiting there. And, that's obviously in the end that's going to be your choice. And the one thing that I cannot do is, I will relay my experiences. I let people know how well I've done over the years with finasteride, and that I believe it's, for many, it's a game changer as far as if you really want to stop the progression of your hair loss. We know that this works. With that said, over the past few years, I've never seen so many accounts of side effects since I've been in this industry, and it's really kind of just
sucks. It really sucks.
It really mushroomed.
Only people would have been.
But it really mushroomed in the last 5 or 6 years. You got to understand, I've been doing this for so long. And there was a certain point where you just didn't see it. Listen, the internet was in existence. There were message forums out there. And for years, on forums like Hair Loss Help and Hair Site and some of the old school forums, people were taking this drug, and some people were experiencing some mild side effects. Some people were experiencing the impotence and things like that. But it was very rare. But most people seemed to be doing and tolerating the drug extremely well. But now it seems like everyone who touches the drug can no longer get it up, or they have testicle pain, or they have whatever that they see online. So I don't know. Maybe
you say it all the time. It's all the mind.
Well, I don't know if it's all in the mind. I'm not going to say that it is, but it just appears.
A lot of it. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, definitely not all in the mind.
It's okay, but it does appear that especially this younger generation, it is almost inevitable that anyone who pops that pill, who goes to a message forum, is going to have side effects. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it is, and that is not to discount those who are having the real issues, because they do exist.
Yeah, I just want to finish off with this. I know there's other calls waiting, and I don't want to take up too much time, but I also want to say one more thing, and it's about eating healthy. Now, again, a lot of these things might not work on a lot of people, but hey, you're trying to lose your hair, and perhaps you should educate yourself, because as much as you read online, you got to test it with respect to yourself. So that's kind of how I looked at it. Although there's great information and certain pills are said to stop hair loss, you don't know if it will work for you or not. So I think when people are going through the initial stages, I think they should go through kind of tests where they try different methods. And again, you got to be very, very patient with hair, because the cycles take about 3 months, and let alone to see results can maybe take a little longer. So that's kind of how I approached it. And I kind of stuck with what I saw worked for me. Now, I didn't want to jump right away onto the finasteride bandwagon. I didn't want to jump right away onto pills like dutasteride, although apparently they were saying to do great, great things. What I did was I tested food, and food was very, very hard to test. But listen, it might work for you, and who cares what other people say? If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think you got to be your own judge of yourself. So I think what people should do when they're starting to lose their hair, you have a little bit of time. Now, you don't have too much time, but you have enough time to test out different methods. And who knows, you might be a great responder. Like, thank God I'm a great responder to herbal supplements. And that's kind of my message for people, you know?
Well, and I think that's a good message. Listen, again, I'm gonna repeat myself, because I do this every time you bring this up and when you call the show. I was a huge believer in diet and hair loss, and how diet could affect and help you manage your hair loss. I do not believe that diet alone, obviously you don't either, can really completely stop the progression of someone's hair loss who is really significantly predisposed to and has those heavy genes for hair loss, or who starts really young and has those heavy genes for hair loss. But I do believe you can improve your chances of successfully treating your hair loss by sticking to certain types of diets. And initially I really believed in the zone diet, the 40-30-30 diet that Barry Sears wrote.
Low glycemic index, that's the one that I was reading up on.
Exactly, low glycemic index. And I was fortunate enough to have Barry Sears write a page in the original The Bald Truth about his thoughts on the low glycemic index or an acastinoid balancing diet and hair loss, and he was in full agreement with me. And actually, that was a very harken back to that day. That was pretty.
Well, if you want to get more information on this,
yeah, go ahead.
If you want to get more information on this, I kind of found the source, like a repository. People are posting their hair loss stories with respect to food and their changes, and some of them seem quite interesting.
Yeah, where is it?
Google it. It's called The Healthy Diet Paradise.
Okay.
I don't know the exact URL, but if you were to Google it, there's a whole site where there's this lady who kind of who helps people with hair loss through eating, and she's convinced that it plays a lot more than the typical 3% that we're told it plays.
Well, listen, the bottom line is, if you are doing better and you are changing your lifestyle and your diet, and you seem to be doing better, and the worst case scenario is that you're becoming a healthier you. So
exactly.
It's not such a bad thing. So I'm definitely a believer in it. I have kind of fallen on and off the diet wagon for years. I do have a tendency to enjoy going out and having a big meal. I do like to drink, but there are times in my life where I am really strict and really disciplined with my diet, and I have to tell you that it's been pretty. During those times, especially at the beginning of my hair loss days, I seemed to slow down my shedding when I was going through shedding process and different tillage and effluviums, and it really did seem to work for me. So I am certainly a believer in diet. Sam, I want to thank you for the call as usual.
Sounds awesome.
And
thank you for having me, Spencer. It's always a pleasure.
What's your pseudonym on the forum? I know you post in the forum.
I am Sam. I'm Sam.
Yeah, I am Sam.
I'm actually in Texas here on vacation. Awesome, living it up. So I decided I had some free time. Why not check out the show and call again?
All right, Sam. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. Good to talk to you. Take care.
All right, take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. 888-659-3727. I just spit on my mic because Common Law said something very funny. Thank you, by the way. I appreciate that, Common Law. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
What's up, Spencer?
Hey, who's this?
Joe.
Oh, Joe, man, you sound different. How are you?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you very well.
So that's happening, man. I'm so sorry, man. I don't even know what to say. It has to do with my internet during the live broadcast during this time, so it's very possible that I'm going to have problems with you talking. You can't hear me at all?
You sound like you're bobbing in and out of the water.
Fuck. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me see if I could set something up on Skype so you can perhaps call my other Skype line and see if we can get that done. I'm gonna take a break. Maybe I'll reboot my phones. All right, and we'll see. Try to call back, or if not, maybe you can Skype in. All right.
Okay, we'll do it.
All right. Thanks. Shit. Never ends, man. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. I want to thank Sam for calling in. And, guys, that's why the phone lines dropped. People can't hear me. And that's why Sam was kind of like, he was working with what he had, but he really couldn't hear me very well. But anyway, I want to take a break. 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. You're listening to and watching The Bald Truth. Yes, this is a live broadcast. We'll be right back after this, so stay with us.
Coast to coast and worldwide.
I just want to say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
I'm good at rocking. It's so hard to find, baby. Gonna make you sweat, gonna make you.
Hey guys, welcome back. 888-659-3727. We are trying to go a little cowboy here and see if we can get our Skype line, second Skype line, to work. Hopefully Andrew Zarian can hear me. Andrew, are you there?
Hey, Spence.
What's happening? So sound is good. You can hear me. Everything's cool.
I can hear you. Everything is cool.
All right, good. So I will eventually give this Skype line out to Joe Tillman because I know he wants to call in. What's happening with you? I know that you were supposed to make an appointment to have your hair checked out.
Yeah, I still have to make the appointment. I haven't had a chance to do it.
So what happened? I mean, what do you mean you didn't have a chance? I mean, they basically rolled out the red carpet for you, and you didn't even fucking call them back.
I know, it's my fault. I by the way, can people hear me? I don't think they could. Anybody else could hear me.
Oh, fuck.
Because the audio's not coming through on my end.
All right, man. I'm closing up shop. That's what's going to happen. I'm closing up shop. This is insane and insanely frustrating, and I don't even know. I don't even know how to handle it. So let's see. Let me go into the Skype preferences here and see if I can make this work. Right?
I hear you. You hear me, but nobody else could hear me.
Okay.
That means you're not sending my audio to the to this Skype channel.
I'm not sending your audio to the Skype channel. You're on Skype channel 1.
Right now?
Yeah.
And what's the other one on?
The other one is Skype channel 2.
Yeah, but you have to remember the aux sends.
Okay. So the aux sends on Skype channel 1. What do I do with that?
It has to be on It has to be on Skype channel 2. It has to be potted up. But I don't know what the numbers are for this board.
All right.
For this channel, because this Skype that I'm calling on is not intended for this.
Right. All right. Well, it's not going to work then. All right, dude. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy. 888-659-3727. It's very possible that we cannot take any calls tonight, and I'm going to be doing a solo show, which is extremely frustrating as usual. And I apologize to you guys. I'm not even quite sure what to say and why this continues to happen. Time Warner Cable did say that everything was working properly, and for a while the phones did seem to be working quite well. But, Joe, if you can hear this, why don't you try to call in at 888-659-3727, and we will see if, in fact, we can get you on the air. If not, I'm going to close up shop early, and we will get some more recorded broadcasts out this week, and I'll be doing some stuff with Joe Tillman. But let's see if we can make this work. Hey, Joe, is that you?
It's Suncast.
It's Suncast. What's happening?
Not much. I'm just trying to figure out what the audio issue is tonight.
Yeah,
that's all.
And it's the same shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same crap. So basically what you're hearing is that I'm just going in and out. You can't...
Well, go ahead.
You can't hear me at all.
I can hear you.
And what does it sound like?
It sounds fine. It's just a little bit low, that's all.
So you actually hear it low. That's weird. So let me raise... let me see what I can do here. That's really weird. So how is it now? Can you hear it any better now?
It's about the same.
Okay. Let me.
But you are clear, and I can hear every word that you're saying.
Okay. So, but I'm just low.
Yeah.
How low? How low is it?
I have to listen carefully, but I mean, it's not like we can't have a conversation or anything.
All right. Well, I don't know what the situation is. I mean, it could be a knob on the board that maybe, I don't know. But I appreciate it. I'm going to see if this may be Joe Tillman. Let me see if I can take his call and let's see what we can do. Suncast, thanks a lot.
All right. See ya.
All right. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's me.
Hey, Joe. So can you hear me now? I know it's probably low.
Yeah, it's really low.
Oh, this is just so effing frustrating, dude.
Hold on. Raising my volume as much as I can.
All right. Yeah, hey. So what's happening, man?
Okay. Well, I can still barely hear it. Let's see.
It's like a joke. It's amateur hour, man. It's fucking amateur hour, and so it's so frustrating for me at this point that I don't even know what to say.
I feel sorry for you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fucking amateur hour.
It's funny that I hear your frustration, but it keeps popping in and out, so I'm not sure exactly what you're saying, but I can hear the frustration in your voice.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close up shop. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody and thank them so much for hanging out for this hour. I'm glad Sam was able to get through, and I know that you left work early to be on the program tonight, and I feel bad about that. And there you go. You can't hear me. Listen, Joe, thank you, man. Now we got people on the line, and they want to try to get through. It's not going to happen.
I didn't hear everything you said, but I got the gist of it, and I was glad to try, and we'll just try again the next time.
Joe, man, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
All right, take it easy. All right, so listen, whatever it is, this is, at this point, amateur hour. I don't even know what to do about this particular phone situation. I'm hearing things where it's either too low or it's coming in choppy. You cannot conduct a talk show like this, guys. So I really am sorry about that. I'm going to give out the websites, let you guys know. Yeah, I'll try to take another call. Let's see if someone else can hear me. Hey, you're on the air. Can you hear me? All right. Hey, you're on the air. Can you hear me?
Good evening, gentlemen. Can I shake things up?
Yes, you can. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Loud and clear, man.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So you could hear me, but no one else
My son just woke me up. I was in a psychotic stupor all day, man.
All right, so you can hear me perfectly.
Yes, I hear you very well.
I am at such a loss. I don't even know what to say. All right, man. So what's happening? How are you?
I won't say perfectly. You know, I've been attacked. You know, I've been very depressed for a week for obvious reasons. I'd rather not get into, and I've been attacked. You know, on the forums. So let me get right to the news. Of course, the sufferers don't. All they want is the news. How does that sound?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, first of all, Adirondacks, something's going on. I'm not sure that they're selling some of their properties. They're changing their focus. I have no idea what this means. The people are posting negative things in the forums. None of this is justified because we don't know exactly what's going on with Adirondacks.
We have no idea. I will tell you, though, that while I was starting the show, Ken Washenik from Adirondacks called my cell phone. And I am sure there is nothing breaking that he's going to tell me. I am pretty convinced that they are still moving forward with everything that they've been working on. And possibly they've just decided to move their facility and they decide, maybe, listen, maybe they're buying all new equipment and they're just getting rid of the stuff that's in Atlanta. Who knows? I mean, that facility's been around for a while now, so maybe they're looking to get some new equipment. And that's it.
Let me. I hear you like very low now. Let me get to the second part of the news, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay. Now there's something going. Hey, is your staff investigating? Is Dr. Cole meeting with Dr. Nigam? Is that true or false? Do you know, Spencer?
Honestly, I don't know if they're actually ever going to meet, but I will tell you this, and this is maybe this is breaking news. I did contact Dr. Cole. Everyone is bugging us and writing my poor moderator and admin for the forum about getting Dr. Nigam on the show. As you guys know, I personally really would prefer not to, at this stage, give anybody a platform that I'm at least quasi-convinced that they're actually doing something that is worthwhile. I'm not saying that they're not, but, it really adds a tremendous amount of credibility. And also, I also don't want to kind of put this guy in the firing range on a personal level. So what I decided to do is I decided to invite Dr. Cole on the program to participate in a moderated discussion with Dr. Nigam. Now, Dr. Nigam has yet to be invited. This is the first time he's going to hear about it, but I wanted to make sure that Dr. Cole would say okay before we reached out to Dr. Nigam. I thought that might be provide some really good perspective to our listeners and to forum users, and also allow a real guy in the trenches like Dr. Cole to ask the hard questions, to get the information from Dr. Nigam. Because listen, as long as I've been in this field, and as much as I may or may not know, as much as I've learned over the years, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist. And I can certainly ask some of the hard questions, but I'm not in the trenches doing the surgery, and I'm not doing the type of research that Dr. Cole has done over all these years. So I thought that it would be a really good idea to have Dr. Cole on with Dr. Nigam to kind of have a moderated discussion and allow Dr. Cole to ask some of the questions that a lot of the guys in the message forum were interested in learning about. So, what do you think about that, Joe? Were you able to hear me?
Yeah, Dr. Cole, I have to say, he's a very tough investigator. He has no time for bullshit. He gets right to the facts. He has no time for nonsense. If Dr. Nigam is true, Dr. Cole will find out the reality of it. Do you agree with that, Spencer?
I do agree with that. And listen, and I say this publicly, and Dr. Cole knows how I feel about some of the things that go on in the message forum, and some of the ways he kind of communicates online. I don't always agree with everything in some of his methods of communicating, but in the end, I do think that he wants to get the truth from guys like Nigam, and he really wants to get the truth out to the consumer. I sometimes will be a little uncomfortable with his methods, and I think some of them are necessary. However, I do think that in the end he is really wanting to get the best information out to the consumer, and this is a great opportunity for everybody. So at this point, Dr. Cole has accepted the invitation. We will be sending out an invitation to Dr. Nigam. I think there's about a 15-hour difference. I know that Dr. Cole's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast of the U.S., and I think there's a 15-hour difference between me and Dr. Nigam. It would be all done through Skype, and of course the Skype settings would be set so I can get them both in, so we wouldn't have to worry about phone lines. So I would be able to obviously do this, and I can do it anytime during the day and record it. So once we make the announcement that it's going to happen, and who knows, it may not happen for a month or 2 months or 3 months, it really depends on everyone's schedule, then I will, I guess, have it put out there, and the guys in the message forums can ask questions, and hopefully, I can ask them during the moderation process, and maybe Dr. Cole could ask them as well.
Well, Dr. Nigam is now claiming that he can transform a Norwich 7 into a Norwich 2. This is a claim he's making. If this is true, he surgically has cured hair loss.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you that I have recently spoken with a couple of physicians who have met with Dr. Nigam. I have spoken with a physician in Europe who has met with Dr. Nigam, and at least according to this particular physician, Dr. Nigam, and again, this is just hearsay, and I'm not saying this is the truth. Dr. Nigam has limited experience when it comes to surgical hair restoration of any kind. So, it's kind of like the guy just came out of nowhere. He kind of investigated this process, and maybe, sometimes in life, something that sounds too good to be true is, but there are also times in life when, maybe this guy stumbled onto something. Maybe he is doing something that no one else has been able to do. I'm skeptical, okay? And I think that that's reasonable. I'm sure that Dr. Nigam respects that. My concern is there's a lot of young guys out there that are getting really excited, giving this guy a lot of praise because he's spending a tremendous amount of time on the message forums, and communicating with these young guys who are really desperate. Does that mean that he's doing something that is nefarious? Absolutely not. But does it actually prove that he's going to be able to prove his concept? And does it prove that he's not just out there trying to kind of, garner some excitement and, get people in the chair? I don't know, man. I really don't know. We are allowing the discussion to happen on our site. I think it's an important discussion. I do have some significant concerns, however. So I just want everyone to really tread lightly, be cautious. Hopefully this interview / moderated discussion can happen with Dr. Cole. Frankly, I don't know how much we're going to get out of that. And I also, frankly, I don't know how much we're going to really learn if Dr. Cole goes down to see Dr. Nigam. It's one thing to be able to see the process, but seeing the process doesn't necessarily show you results. Unless he somehow is able to kind of bring in an array of patients who have had this process done, and we're actually able to see legitimate before images or before video, and then the end result. I'm sure that Dr. Cole can assess whether or not the hair doubling process is in fact genuine. But I got to tell you guys that I think it's reasonable to look at this with a jaundiced eye. I really do.
Skeptical eye. I'm skeptical. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Exactly.
You're being attacked, Spencer. I'm being attacked. We don't know. We don't know the answer. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. People are going to fly him out. Why should I fly him out? He's a doctor. You know how much money he's making probably from my forum alone?
I have no idea what he's making.
I can guarantee you that there are plenty of people who, you got to realize that it's like a radio show. For every one person that calls in, there are thousands of people that listen to the show. It's the same with an online message forum. For every one person that actually takes the time to join and post, there are thousands of people that read the forum. So we have no idea what actually transpires and how these guys are getting patients from just being visible on a message forum. I'm at a point where, first of all, I would say that most forum owners would charge this guy, and I'm not saying anyone does, but that's the way the industry works, to be able to spend as much time kind of promoting what he's doing. At this stage, I don't know if, in fact, what he's doing is legitimate. So there's no way that I can ever take any type of, financial compensation from him. And the same with Go. There's no financial connection between me and Dr. Go. I allow the conversation about Go to go on the forum, and I can tell you that there's no doubt in my mind that he has received a significant amount of patients just based on the conversation that goes on. At this point, I still can't fully endorse it, and he knows that. And obviously, that's the same way that I feel about Dr. Nigam. And frankly, at least with Dr. Go, I know that he is performing, relatively, pretty good hair transplants. I mean, they're modest hair transplants. I'm not quite sure what Dr. Nigam is doing.
Right. Well, you open up to it. You're being, attacked, but you're open-minded. You're not saying it works, it doesn't work. We don't know. No one knows. Am I correct?
That's exactly right. No one does know, and but he's very. The assertions that he makes are pretty
bold.
Well, they're pretty bold. I will tell you that. And if you really read between the lines and read the science, and if you've been around for a long time, you kind of know the how the buzzwords are dropped, and obviously on the internet there's a lot of easy cut and pasting as far as being able to learn about the science, or at least present to the public, especially to the lay public, that you really understand the science of what you're doing. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I got to tell you, man, there's something that I cannot put my finger on that just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm hoping that Dr. Nigam can come on this program and say, you know what, Spence, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm going to prove to you that what I'm saying is true. And I got to tell you, man, I will bow down to the guy. I really would. If what he is doing is actually something that is going to change the lives of hair loss sufferers in the way that he's claiming that it is, then, I will I will do whatever I can to promote it. But
Right.
But right
Hey,
now,
before I
right
leave
now
the
it's not
news?
happening. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, there's biogenics. You heard about this? A lot of, like Dr. Yates and a lot of well-known physicians are endorsing this new procedure. Have you heard about it?
You know, I
I'm sure you have.
I have, and I actually have a call into Dr. Yates. He actually he called me twice today, and I have not had the opportunity to call him back, and he wants to discuss that with me. You know, at this point, I have no comment on it. I do think that it's a little premature, in my view, for some of these doctors to be putting it on their website and making it look as though. I mean, there's it created kind of a buzz on the internet recently, and I'm you know, I don't want to speak out of turn. So when I speak in more detail to Dr. Yates and to Dr. Ziering about their connection and why they are currently, you know, getting more involved with this company, then I'll let you guys know. But I would not run out to you know, to get any.
Well, it's going to be available in, as you know, it's going to be available in Colombia in October.
Yeah.
You know, the product is from Canada, as you know. It's some type of PRP with growth factors. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but it won't be approved by Health Canada or the FDA, so it'll be available in Colombia starting in October.
Right.
I'll be the first one on the plane, as you know, if it works.
Well, Joe, if it works, we'll make sure that you're the first one on the plane.
You what?
If it works, we'll make sure that you're one of the first guys on the plane.
Will the Ball Truth fly me there free?
Nah, the Ball Truth doesn't need to fly you there free. I'll have the company fly you there.
Will I have any amenities on the trip, man?
Well, it depends. What do you want?
Well, we'll say that for Andrew's show. You know what I want, man.
Oh, Jesus.
You come in very weak, Spencer, but I can definitely understand you.
Yeah, it is. There's no doubt that's the bandwidth, and I have not taken the time, because for a while the phone was working fine again. I have not taken the time to get regular old-fashioned copper wires in here, and that's what I'm going to have to do. And as soon as I'm done with this program, I'm going to call the phone company. And, well, actually, it may be too late, but tomorrow morning I'm going to call the phone company. I'm going to have them come out here. I'm going to have them run wires. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. So, Joe, I appreciate you being so patient, and I'm glad you...
But I can't understand. I can't understand you, though. No doubt about that. I can't understand what you're saying, but you just come in very weak. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, there's no reason to have to deal with this. This is a professional, radio studio. None of this shit should happen. Sadly, I basically live on a ridge, and for some reason, the cable here, especially during the prime hours between like 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock at night, it's just, there's not enough bandwidth for this neighborhood. And to do what I do takes a tremendous amount of bandwidth, especially since we're putting across HD video that has to go through Skype, that has to go, to Andrew and trying to get the sound together, and then of course the phone. So, I'm just going to have to break into my piggy bank and spring for the new phone lines.
Well, Spencer, I'll send you a check if you need a few bucks. You know that.
No, I'll figure it out. I'll find the money somewhere, Joe, but I appreciate that.
Well, I don't know how much money. I'll send you $1,000. You know that I would.
I know that you would. You know what? You never know. You never know how life, where life takes you. Maybe one day I'll say, hey, Joe, I'll take that $1,000.
Well, I've worked with you many years. You've never taken a dime from me. I have to tell you that.
I have never taken a dime from anybody, and that's what's funny. I got all kinds of shit in my career, and I have never taken a dime from a consumer. And I kind of built my world and built my business and built my career on that premise where I did not want the consumer, except of course those who've bought my books, but they buy it through the publisher, and but nothing's ever been direct. I never wanted to sell this information. I never wanted to. I had an opportunity to actually turn the radio broadcast when I was on terrestrial radio. Initially, there was a company that wanted to, and this is when podcasting kind of first came out, basically sell the show. People would buy episodes. And at the time, because it was relatively new and because of the niche market that I'm in, I probably could have done pretty well. And I was really against it. Now, to this day, there are companies that are saying that, or I'm not going to say who is saying that if you really want to, to earn from this online broadcast, you can. And it could probably end up being, several $1,000s a week, $5,000, $10,000 a week, depending on, the distribution. I just want the consumers to have it for nothing. So, Joe, I probably won't be taking any of your money. You can buy me dinner once in a while, though.
Well, Spencer, I'll tell you the truth. I remember back in '98, we just starting out. I sent you a money order, and you send it back to me. You remember that?
I do remember that, and I have never.
You actually send it back to me. You refused to take it. That's the kind of guy Spencer is. Let me tell you, suffers out there. That's the kind of man he is. He actually sent my money order back.
It's funny that
kind of guy he is.
Yeah, there
was
a time when
people
would send contributions, and we would just send it back. I decided that I didn't want to take any contributions either through the Bald Truth at the time or through the American Hair Loss Association. So that's just the way that to me, it makes everything that much cleaner. You don't want to take anything from the consumer. Now, at some point, if I ever decided to put out another book and I don't go through one of the two publishing houses that have published my book, now it's a different time. And self-publishing is very respectable, and you can get your message out there. Who knows? Maybe I will self-publish, and then of course it'll be part of my company. You guys will be buying, or consumers will be buying the book directly from me. That's a different story. But as of yet, for the last 15 years, I've never done it.
I know. I definitely know that, but I'd like to have the opportunity when you come to New York next time to buy you dinner. Maybe you can let me do that for you, Spencer. You've been so good to me all these years.
You can, and this time, when I come to New York, which is going to be actually pretty soon because I got to see my dad again. I'm not going to let Andrew try to monopolize the one day that I would have, the one night that I would have to hang out with you guys. He's like a woman. He doesn't want me to call Coco. He wants me all to himself.
Well, Spencer, I mean, I've known you for whenever these guys were in diapers. I've known you. I'm a little bit jealous. I'll be honest with you.
Well, you shouldn't be jealous because part of the reason we meet is because of business. So I mean, there's something to it. It's not just like, hey, I'm hanging out with this 27-year-old kid. No offense, Andrew. I mean, there's business involved, and we do.
But he's poor, Andrew. He's not like me, wealthy.
Andrew's. I'm not gonna divulge Andrew's financial situation, but I don't think anybody in this country would consider Andrew to be poor.
Oh. Well, I won't take you to Ted, Spencer. I'll definitely take you to Morton. Do you know what I mean?
I know you will, man. I know you will. So you know what?
One place I won't take you to. That's Uncle Jack's. You know why?
Well, because you have to wear a hat. You can't wear a hat.
No hats allowed.
Yeah, but maybe what I would do is I'll call Uncle Jack's in advance and I'll say, listen, tell him who we are, what we're doing, and that, this is Joe from Staten Island. So maybe we can go a little earlier, get a nice corner table, and they could make an exception for you.
I'm sure Willie, the boss, will make an exception, or we'll have to do the job with him on the Bald Truth.
Yeah, well, I think he might. You know what? I'm gonna put you. I'm gonna keep you potted up. Actually, let me see if I can do this.
Get another call in.
Well, I have other calls, but I don't know if I can take them. So let me see if I can try. All right.
Okay, Spencer. Right. Thank you.
Hey, you're on the air. You might not be able to hear me, but let's give it a shot.
Spencer, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You may not be able to hear me.
Hey, this is Brian from L.A.
Holy shit, Brian! I'm telling you, every time you call this broadcast, the last two times the show was live, we had no problems with the phones. And then as soon as you're ready to call or thinking about calling, the whole thing gets fucked up.
Yep. I gave you that piece of information, and now it's sticking. It's like I jinxed the whole show.
It is. So what's happening? Can you hear me at all? I mean, can you communicate with me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you fine. You sound. I mean, it's a little low, but it's not bad.
All right. So tell me what's up, man.
Not much. I hear you and Joe talk, and he says he's going to take you out to dinner or something.
Yeah, Joe wants to when I go back to New York, which I've been going a lot lately. He wants to take me to a little restaurant called Morton's in New York.
Oh, I think I know that one. It's a nice restaurant.
It's not bad. You've heard of it, right?
Yeah. As long as he doesn't show any lobsters for you, that's okay, I guess. You never know.
Yeah.
A little too many inside jokes going on for your audience. They don't know what we're talking about.
So what's happening? When I saw you, actually, Brian is a server at a restaurant that I go to, and he told me that he had an interesting story and that he was going to call the show, whenever. I didn't know he was going to call tonight, but what was that story?
Yeah, actually, I do have an interesting story. When I had seen you, I had said something to the fact that I had censored out a woman. And what that basically means is that we had went to see you saw the new movie, the Superman movie?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. So, there's a couple things that we all obsess about. One of the things I obsess about, you obsess about, is hairlines.
Right.
We look at other people's hairlines, in envious ways, and sometimes in, oh gee, I hope I don't look like that one day. And with the Superman characters, they always have fantastic hairlines, and I'm always extremely jealous of it, and then also, they usually have great bodies. This guy had like an amazing body, and that's another thing I get envious of. I look at it, but I don't necessarily look at it in like, a fantasy way, just like, God, kind of motivates me to want to work out or something like that. But I noticed with this particular guy, he doesn't have a perfect hairline. I don't know if you noticed that. Do you?
That's very funny that you mentioned that, because I really didn't notice it. I think as I'm getting older. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Yeah. I think as I'm getting older, I'm actually, since I've been involved in this for so long, I'm actually looking at hairlines less than I used to. And to me, this guy did have a pretty perfect hairline because he's like a kid. And I was really more interested. I mean, when you look at this guy, to me, you're looking at his jaw and his shoulders and his chest. Because that's kind of
definitely he had all that going for him. But I guess since you didn't look at it, I'll tell you, if you guys, I started researching the guy. If you look at him, he's got a little bit of a mature hairline going, maybe losing a little bit more than normal. But it's a stark change of pace from like Christopher Reeve and the Brandon Ralph, which is the guy who played the last one.
Right.
So how this comes back around to the woman is that I went to see it with a woman, and she is the one woman that I date, and I kind of confide in her how I feel about these things. Not necessarily like more like a scratching post. She's just around, and she's very feminine. She worries about what she wears, what she looks like. She does a little bit of the Botox and all that stuff. And I'm telling her she doesn't need it. You don't need it. Just age gracefully, because she's starting to look a little China dollish. Not bad or anything. Looks really good, but I just worry. Let me put it this way: she doesn't look China doll, but I'm worried about it going there.
Right.
So since she has that, I kind of confided in her about the whole, hair loss thing. And she's like, oh, you have nothing to worry about. You're fine. I'm like, yeah, but I do worry about it. So we come out of the movie theater after watching Superman, and I said, you know what, this is the first Superman where I'm not like sitting there like, going, God, I wish I had that hair, because it's not, it's not perfect. It's great, but it's not perfect.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at him right now, and I can see what you're saying. That like one side is slightly more recessed than the other, and it looks like he may be on his way to, some changes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I said that, and this lady was swooning in the movie theater. Like, he's a good-looking guy. He has a great body, but they overly shot him in so many like different angles to make women swoon. They even have a character in there going, I think he's really hot, and she's like a military girl, like, but so childish.
Yeah.
So she was really into the guy. So when I said that, I don't know what happened, but she flips out on me. She's all like, would you just stop in your obsession with people's hairlines? And like she comes to defense like violently in the car on the way home.
That's awesome.
And this is the girl I'm supposed to be banging in like 20 minutes, right? So I'm like, this is where I turn into Spencer Kobren. I'm like, give me a fucking break. You paint your face every goddamn day. You get Botox. You dye your hair, and you're obsessed about your ass. You had light bulb. I just go off on her.
Oh, that is awesome.
And I go, and I can't say one damn thing about my superhero and having a receding hairline. and she goes, why don't you just go home? I go, like there was any other choice. I just dropped her off and went back home.
That was it. Wow. That's actually very, very funny and kind of sad that you didn't get laid that night because of you had to pull a Spence.
It's all right, man. It was worth it. I mean, she needed to hear that. I mean, she probably didn't listen to it, but she needed to at least hear it.
But I think that's a really good point, because that is the truth, man. And I hope you could hear what I'm saying. But that is the truth. You know, the bottom line is, when we talk about it, we do not have the right to obsess about it. We do not have the right, for some reason, to be concerned about, you know, our eroding hairlines and our possible eroding appearance. But these women are, you know, there's no problem if they're obsessed about their ass, or they're obsessed about their wrinkles, or, you know, it is a double standard, and it's very unfair.
Yeah, and I can hear you fine, by the way.
Okay.
You know, it's just like, the funny thing is, I don't talk to every woman about that, but I talk to her because she's pretty open. We have a good relationship in many regards, but like, it was funny how in that one particular instance, because I'm not even lying, like, I've seen the movie twice with two different people, and I could hear her gasp when they closed up on his face.
Right.
You know, like, they're just like mesmerized by everything about him. And one of these girls that I know, one of my friends, is like, he could do no wrong. I'm just saying, like, well, that's cool. I actually enjoyed that. I don't hate on any guy.
Right.
I go, but I thought it was like, you know, his hairline, although it was really great, is not perfect. And I thought, finally, they didn't find this guy with like a freaking, you know, looked like someone put a 2x4 on his forehead and then put hair behind it, you know? And so I was like, all right, great, you know, and this Superman's one of my heroes, and she knows that's where she wanted to go. And it just freaking, I said one thing about it, and I didn't even obsess about it. I just said one thing. I go, I mean, you finally picked a guy who has an actual natural, you know, hairline, and you know, not a freak of nature.
But I do think
she whipped out.
But I do think it's interesting that you're still dating girls that gasp at actors. How old are these people?
She's roughly probably 37.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. You talk to a couple women, they're into this guy. This guy is like the biggest thing to them. Like,
well, no,
you know,
he's an extremely handsome guy, but I mean, for a 37-year-old woman to still gasp at a movie star, it's kind of like, I mean, I guess it still happens, but it's like, wow, really? You know, it's like, I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to sit there and whoever is really hot at the time, you know, in front of any date that I'm with and go, oh my God, look at her tits. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Well, I don't know if she's you know, like the average woman or not, but she you know, she calls her vibrators Ryan because there's Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds, God. And she just calls him Ryan to kind of fill the blank of either one. So, but I think now she's got this other guy. But I find it, you know, like the first thing that popped in my head, I'm like, this is a Spencer moment. Yeah. I mean, like, some girl gets uppity with me over something that is like 10% of what they do every day. Yeah. And I just, you know, I was like, okay, let me just take a page out of your playbook.
Well, listen, I think that was a good move, honestly. And, you know, maybe she'll think twice the next time you show some concern about your hairline.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really the best move if you want to get something wet downstairs. But
well, that's true. At least you got it off your chest, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So
it was a fun moment in time, I guess.
Well, that's a pretty cool story, man. And I have to tell you that common law, I said, you know, this guy's obviously, you know, he's concerned about what's going on. Check him out. And maybe it's dark in there, but in her mind, you have a completely full head of hair.
Well, that's great to know. I mean, it's like I said, I dare not, you know, cry too much because I know there's, you know, I know most people, like I said, this particular woman says I don't have anything to worry about. But I do notice that it's crept a little bit on the top. I've always had a big forehead, which I told you on the air one time, ever since I was a kid. And as we were talking about it, it was like, you know, with the whole Tom Hanks reference and Jeremy Piven, I was laughing because I go, is there something, you know, the forehead getting bigger? What's going on? But, yeah, it's not terrible, but, like, you know, if you put me under a bright lamp and take a look at it in scrutiny, you'll see a little bit going on. It's mainly on the corners of my temples, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In that lighting, to me, and again, I'm you know, by the time I see you, I've already had 2 drinks in me. It looks like you have the hairline of a kid. So I think you should be pretty thankful.
Well, that's good to hear. I appreciate it. You know, every time I come behind you guys, like I usually stand behind kind of someone and talk to them, but like I'm like, I don't want him to think I'm checking him out, so I'll walk all the way around the bar and get by the bar.
Do you think that I don't think you're checking me out? You're trying to find sly ways.
I haven't looked once seriously. I mean, once I don't know. It's like there to enjoy your time. I don't want because it's just like when you look at a lady's boobs, man. They find it. That one moment you glance, they see it.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I want you to feel when you're, having a lobster or a steak with your girl.
Well, listen, you can look anytime, so feel free to scrutinize me. Don't touch, but you can look.
No touching, yeah. By the way, common law is a very personable, beautiful, and lovely woman. I mean, like she the last couple times I saw you guys, I never knew what to think of her other than visually.
Right.
She's really kind of, I don't know what it is about that place, but when a lot of women come in there, they're either like on a leash with their men, or they got some kind of stick up their ass.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of get that personal feel from somebody,
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, she's a very down-to-earth person, and that's, I mean, I wouldn't be with her for almost 14 years if she wasn't who she was, so.
All right.
All right, man. Well, listen, I appreciate the call, and it was great seeing you the other night, and, I think you did the right thing, man. I don't think she'll ever question you again. If she does, then she better be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll report back. I haven't talked to her since then, but we'll talk again, and I'll report back what happened.
All right, Brian.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, and have a good show.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Oh, hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
Wish you the best with your father, and if you're traveling east, fly safe, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks a lot.
All right,
you're
welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
These phones are killing me, man. They're killing me. Joe?
Hello?
Yeah, you're still there, Joe.
Hello, am I here?
Yes, you are.
Who is this cat, Brian? You waiter or something like that?
Brian is a guy that, he's been a fan of the show for a while, and I go to this particular restaurant, and he waited on me completely, in a clandestine way. He knew who I was. He waited on me in common law, and he called the show to basically say that he didn't want to bug me when he saw me in the restaurant, and that he waited on me. And it was pretty wild. And I said, listen, dude, next time I'm there, I want you to let me know who you are. And he did. So every time I go there now and I see him, we kind of we say hi, and he takes great care of us.
Well, I hope you leave this cat at least 25%, man.
Well, I'll be honest.
I know
with you.
I don't know if you can afford it.
I would be honest with you that most of the time we eat at the bar, and he just kind of like comes around and and hangs out. So he's not necessarily waiting on us. But yeah, I would say I usually leave about 30%.
Wow. What note is this cat? What is his hair condition? You rather not say.
I'll say on there. He has a really decent head of hair. I mean, he looks like he has he looks like he has a mature hairline. Does not look to me like it's really receding at all, but he knows himself better. And he looks like he has a full head of hair. Common law said the same thing, but I get it. I mean, it's his hair. He knows the difference, and I have never seen him or scrutinized him under harsh lighting. This is restaurant lighting, and to me, he looks like he has a completely full head of hair.
Wow. He looks to you. Is he gay? He seems like he's gay, is he? I don't know.
No, he's not gay. Well, I don't think he is. I mean, he talks about women all the time. He doesn't appear to be gay to me, but you never know in life. But I would probably, if I was a betting man, I would say absolutely not.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with it, but if the guy's not gay, he's not gay, and leave him alone, dude.
Well,
I know you want everyone to be gay.
No, I'm not gay. I'm a heterosexual man who doesn't have sex.
Who doesn't have sex with women and prefer to have sex with hermaphrodites and chicks with cranks.
Well, we'll save it for Friday's show.
Okay. All right, I'm going to see if we can take another call. Let's see how this works out.
Okay.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Spen.
Yes.
Hey, this is Boston B.
Boston B, man. What's happening? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
hey.
You sound okay. A little bit faint. Hey, Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Am I far left?
Yes, you are.
Joe, are you there?
Yes, am I far left? Hey, Boston, how you doing, man?
Not bad. Joe, you're jealous of everybody that Spence talks to. Leave that kid alone. He's not gay.
No, I'm not jealous of his son who his son talks to, but I've known Spencer for a long time. I just want to be with him. You know what I'm saying?
Spence, how you doing?
I can't complain, man. How you doing?
I hope your father's doing okay.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. He's.
I went through that stuff a while ago, and it really does suck for everybody.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that.
I know. I don't mention Spencer's father because he said don't mention him on the air. He don't want to discuss it, so I don't bring it up.
Don't be jealous, Joe.
Joe, don't be jealous.
Boston, don't you agree that we have to investigate Dr. Nigam? Is that what you're calling about?
Yeah, what I want to say is, since Dr. Nigam was going to give Joe a free ride to Mumbai, why don't we take his ticket, since he's afraid to go, and give it to Dr. Cole? Then there's no problem with finances with Dr. Cole flying out there.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be a problem for Dr. Cole to fly anywhere, ever, and I will tell you, I mean, I know what people make in this industry, and Dr. Cole is very busy, so he has no problem paying for his own flight. However, listen, if Dr. Nigam wants to pay for his flight, I'm sure that'd be fine for Dr. Cole. I do think that maybe conducting this initial discussion, this moderated discussion, might help to answer a lot of questions. But, I also believe that we're never going to know until we really know. And
yeah, that's all. I'd say let's just end it. Either the guy's legit, or he's just another, fraud. So.
Well, what I mean exactly. The thing is, what do you guys really think? What does your gut tell you? You're very interested, but what does your gut tell you?
I read something that Dr. Cole wrote on the, and I think he's great. He wrote during the week that he's tired of. It's kind of like just all the hair transplant surgeons in the country are just doing what they're doing right now. Don't want to progress too much because they're just they're making their money.
And I think that there's a lot of great doctors out there that would love to evolve. Not all the guys that are doing different type of FUE than he is, or who's still doing strip, don't want to evolve, and I think that's incorrect. That's all I'm saying.
Well, in my opinion, that because some of the doctors still do FUE and still do strip. I guess he just doesn't do strip anymore. He's just 100% FUE.
Well, and I think that the fact that he was able and willing to evolve his practice, and that's the direction he wanted to go in, I think is incredible. But I had a doctor on. If you saw a segment that I put up on The Bald Truth the day before yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday, I had Dr. Mark Dower on the program. And Dr. Mark Dower performs both FUE and FUT. And he, believe it or not, even though some doctors will claim, well, if you're doing both, you're probably just trying to do a bait and switch and get guys in the chair for FUT. He makes more money doing FUE. He's a young guy. He's very hands-on, so it doesn't make a difference to him. He actually has said that he would prefer to do FUE for several reasons. He enjoys the doing it. He enjoys removing the grafts and placing them. He likes the whole process, and in the end, he makes more money. So it's really better for him to do FUE. But he has chosen for himself when he could have surgery with anybody in the world. He's chosen his last surgery, which was 3 months ago, to have a strip procedure. And it's not because of finances. It's not because he, knows somebody who, he trusts that only does strip.
Is it because he didn't want to shave his head, though? It's the back of his head?
No, it's not even because he doesn't want to shave his head, because he was willing to go a little closer if he had to, and I spoke to him about that. That may not have made the interview, but it was because he understands that he has a limited donor area to move. He's had 2 strips, and he knows the process, and he truly believes that he gets, even in the best hands, greater yield with a strip, and that in his particular case, since he's not interested in shaving down to live his life that way, that a 3rd strip was appropriate. And he said that it's even possible that if he has another surgery, depending on his scalp elasticity, that he would do it again. And it seems like a lot of the doctors who get hair transplant surgery, Dr. Feller included, I'm going to have him on the show, he's told me outright, he goes, he has the choice, he would get a strip. Now,
but if you listen to Dr. Keller, or who was on the last time?
You listen to Dr. Yates, he is totally at this point anti-strip, but also Dr. Yates is a black guy. Dr. Yates has some visible donor scarring because he wears his hair very short, so for him, it is like, okay, this is the perfect procedure. And he would never have had a strip put on his head. And apparently he just did a hair transplant on his kid. And he said that he would never, put a strip scar on his kid. And that's reasonable. I think a kid is crazy to go in at 23, 24 years old to get a strip. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Give him some. Maybe if you're 35 or 40 and you've lived some life and you realize, okay, I'm going in this direction. I'm never going to shave my head. I want the most bang for my buck, so to speak. And I understand the entire scope and possible pitfalls of having the strip. I'm mature enough to make that decision. That's fine. I don't like to see 25-year-old kids having strips.
What if you're older and already had surgery?
Well, to me, I think if you're older, and again, I'm prefacing this by saying I'm not a doctor and I've never had a hair transplant procedure, but based on all the information that I've had over the years, I do think that if you're in the right hands and you've already had a strip and you know what the process is like, the scar's already there. There's always a chance. There's always a chance of making the scar worse. But
you haven't had to deal with the numbness for. I had the strip, and
I agree.
You get the numbness for quite a while. I haven't had my last one for maybe 10, 15 years or so. Yeah, I did meet with Dr. Wesley up in Boston.
Oh, you did? So how'd that go?
Good. He didn't really. His new technique really isn't finished up yet. So
no, it's not.
I think people online and like Joe are thinking, this is a holy grail and it's going to be out in October. I think everybody should just kind of cool their jets a little.
I agree with that.
Call Dr. Wesley. He will talk to you about it. But I don't think come October 1st or whatever's kicking around online is that he's going to be doing that. It's still kind of, experimental. It sounds good. I still think he's got a bunch more kinks to work out.
I believe that he does.
Please, everybody out there, call him first.
Yeah, and I believe that he does as well, and he was very clear.
Because it seems like he's a very good, he just doesn't want to rush into it either.
No, he doesn't, but that's the problem with, and that's the nature of the online world. As soon as someone gets some information, it's like, okay, what's the timeline? How many months it's going to be? And if someone, says, well, possibly October, then their feet are held to the fire for that. And I try to tell guys...
Yeah, and I think he's just going to start out with small, like very small procedures.
I would honestly say, and I think that I may have said this before, I don't think it's going to be out there for real public consumption as far as a full-fledged procedure for at least another year, maybe 2, depending on his progress. I do believe, though, that he's on to something that is really special and that could really help a lot of people, especially those who already have pretty significant scarring where, removing the follicle the way that he removes the follicle might be an easier process than going in the conventional way as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of applications for this technique. It's not, and I don't know if he showed you the PowerPoint presentation or how much he told you.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty unique, and I think that people would be pretty surprised to realize that there's not that collateral damage that people think would be caused by going in the way that he's going in with the endoscope.
But again, if you already have, if you already had strip work done, again, we'll see. I mean, he definitely was seemed like a very intelligent guy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He also just another thing for all the young kids out there that are afraid to take finasteride. He just mentioned that he's really has never seen anybody with side effects from it. In all the studies that were done, 1% of the people studied had said they had the side effects. On the other hand, the same 1% of the people had the same side effect
on the
with
placebo
the placebo.
Well, but you know what?
Like
The
sugar pill.
The problem is that the online community doesn't want to hear that, and they think that anyone who promotes that statistic is somehow in Merck's pocket, and to me that's sad. It really is. I believe that these side effects are occurring, but I don't see why physicians or anyone who's talking about this can't just provide their experience. He's talking about the experience that he's had in his practice with his patients, and that in his practice, this has not occurred. A lot of doctors say that, and for some reason, the online consumer or the guys that have been affected by these side effects do not want to believe it. In their minds, like, everyone gets side effects to some degree. People just don't know they have the side effects, or they're fluffing off the side effects. I don't believe that's true. I believe that plenty of people have side effects, and I believe that these long-lasting, side effects after stopping finasteride do seem to be occurring. But I do think it's unfair.
Well, I would try FDA-approved finasteride before I'd start rubbing IU or whatever everybody else is putting in their head or in their body.
I would too, and that's what I did. But you and I are old school, and maybe we're a little bit more experienced. And actually, when we started to use this stuff, or at least when I did, there wasn't this tremendous fear out there. Even though I was given a lot of what I would consider misinformation by a doctor who I was buying his own special concoction from, basically trying to scare the shit out of me. But I was so desperate that I finally popped that first pill. And you know what? I don't know what's going to happen to me in the future. I don't know if I'm going to end up with some bizarre form of cancer or some other disease, God forbid, that may or may not be attributed to the long-term use of this drug. But at this stage of my life, I can tell you that it has only been a benefit to me, and has only helped me in my life, and helped me, honestly, to get to the point that I am in my life, because if it wasn't for that drug, I would never be sitting behind this mic right now.
It's actually, as you get older, it's actually not bad to take, because it'll keep your if you ever inclined to get a larger prostate cancer, it kind of decreases a little bit. I get my blood. I go for a physical every year. I go to a older doctor that still teaches over in Harvard. I told you before, he wouldn't give me he recommended I take melatonin if I was having a problem getting to sleep, not like a sleeping pill or anything else. But he is no problem, zero problem taking finasteride.
Yeah, and there's a lot of doctors like that. But I will tell you that it's becoming more difficult for younger guys, or I would say for everybody, to get a prescription for finasteride. Usually the guys under 30. It seems to be becoming increasingly difficult because doctors are afraid to prescribe the drug because of a lot of the ambulance chasers out there that are really getting involved in these class action lawsuits. Now, some of these guys may not be ambulance chasers, so please don't hold me to task. I'm not saying that every lawyer that is involved in these things are ambulance chasers, but I'm sure there are some. However, I mean, there's some fear out there. Doctors don't want to have to deal with this. They don't want to be forced to be held accountable for prescribing a legal drug with known side effects to a patient that may claim that they weren't given full disclosure. But
the side effects proven? I mean, if it was proven, Merck would have taken it off the market.
Well, there are proven side effects, but the thing, and clinically. But the thing is, it's like any other drug. It's like birth control, for instance. There are sexual side effects from birth control and from other drugs. There are some women who will actually have an increased libido, and some women who will have a significantly decreased libido. But you don't see birth control.
Who's to say that just isn't going to happen normally?
But
if they weren't taking anything.
That's exactly right. But I mean, there's clinical evidence that it works, and there's probably there was a study that was posted. Actually, I was reading the forum today by one of our posters, and I think I saw this study before, and it actually showed something about a significantly large percentage of people who took non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, aspirin and ibuprofen, guys who were aged between 45 and 65. They studied like 80,000 people, so it was a pretty significant study, and they showed that guys who used these drugs 2 to 3 times a day consistently had a 28%, or 28% of the guys that used it in the clinical trial had sexual dysfunction because of the drug. From taking ibuprofen or aspirin.
Right. But what's it say in the bottle? Don't they say don't take it more than a few days?
Well, no. I think basically they were using it for using it either for obviously pain management, or in some cases like the aspirin for managing, heart issues. So it really depended. But most of these people were taking it for some sort of pain management. And there are people that need to take some sort of pain reliever every single day. But even just taking 2 tablets can cause that. So, I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, people aren't going to stop taking aspirin. Aspirin's not going to be pulled off the market because it makes guys less amorous or have sexual difficulty. So it's just the way that it is. This is a medication with real side effects. That's it.
Well, I'm a little bit older than you, so I still haven't had any we'll call it boner problems. So listen, don't be worried for a few more years.
You know what? I'm not worried, and you know what? Thank God. We live in an age where you have pills like Cialis and Viagra and whatever else that when the time is right, no pun intended, those pills are available. And it's not like our dad's generation. If someone had sexual dysfunction, even if they're young, they probably were screwed. Again, no pun intended, for life. Now there are a lot of options for people. So.
Yeah, if you're a kid, if you don't have a girlfriend, then how often you getting boned anyway? So
that's right.
Take a pill once a month or whatever.
Please.
Joe.
You'll be very
Spencer.
Yeah.
What's up with Ratty? He got banned from the.
I have absolutely no control of the chat room. That is GFQ's chat room, so I don't know where Ratty is.
Free Ratty.
I would
say Jerry's back in the chat room too. I heard.
I would say that if it were up to me, both of these guys can stay in the chat room, but it's not my chat room. It's GFQ's chat room.
Okay. Do you have any idea when the Cole interview or whatever will be?
I don't.
And is it okay, Joe? Is it okay for me to email Dr. Nigam and donate your seat to Dr. Cole since you're a pussy and don't want to go over there?
What fee is that?
Huh? Your airplane seat.
But I'm afraid I could be destroyed by this guy. I don't know who'll do to me. I don't know who this guy is.
I'll tell you what, Boston. If you do contact Dr.
Boston, I'm afraid of this guy. I don't know what the deal is. He may destroy me more than I've been destroyed already.
If you do contact Dr.
Joe, you get nothing to lose, bro.
If you do contact Dr. Nigam,
I have a lot to lose. You may destroy me. Right?
Joe,
right or wrong?
Joe, relax. Hold on for a second. Boston, if you do contact Dr. Nigam, you can talk about what I spoke about on the show tonight. We have not sent him an official invitation yet because I was waiting to hear back from Dr. Cole, which I have, and Dr. Cole has accepted. So you can mention it to him. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it announced.
What's the best way to do it? Let's get Cole over there.
Well, that would be a great way to do it. But I'm talking.
All right, I'll make that offer. I'll donate Joe's seat.
Well, but what I'm talking about is actually sit down and have an interview with both of them, and actually have Cole have the ability to question Dr. Nigam, and Dr. Nigam have the ability to speak to a doctor as opposed to just speaking with me, and I could moderate the discussion.
Well, I say let's get them over there and have them. Oh, whatever you want to do. Yeah. But I guess it's up whatever they want to do.
Yeah, it is up to them. It is absolutely up to them. We'll figure it out.
That's a great offer. A great show tonight. I've been looking for a Cole interview anyway, and you get the both of them on. So
well, you know what?
I'm great radio.
I am not making any promises. Dr. Cole accepted it, but you never know when people change their minds. But I wouldn't have put it out there if Dr. Cole didn't accept it. And I'm sure Dr. Nigam is going to be pleased to do it because he's been wanting to be on the program for a long time.
Yeah, who knows what he's doing, but all we say is, like the name of the show, the truth. Just find out what's going on.
Well, let's hope it is the truth. Listen, Boston, man, thanks for the call.
Okay.
All right.
Great show. Thanks. See you,
man.
Joe.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, guys, I'm going to close up shop. I'm done, Joe. I'm done for the night. I want to get some food, and I think that we ended up having a successful program, even with the technical problems, and I just have to figure this out. It's very frustrating, but we'll make it work.
All right. Well, at least I came on the show. I brought my life to it. You got to say that, right? When I came on.
Say that again.
When I came on to the show, I rescued the show for 55 minutes. Did I help out a little bit?
I would tell you that you completely rescued the show because I was ready to close the doors. I was just like, you know what? This isn't happening. I can't speak to anybody. No one can hear me. For some reason, you were able to hear me first, and then maybe it was just coincidental that the phone lines cleared up slightly when you called in, but I'm glad that you did so that we were able to do the show.
Well, let me say one quick thing. Before we close shop, did you make that contact with Artiste that we discussed?
Did I what?
Did you make that contact with Artiste to give him that information on me? I asked you to give him?
I totally forgot, dude. Thanks for reminding me. I'll make it happen.
Please do, Spencer, because I've been awaiting his response for the past week and a half.
These guys want to see the back of my head. There you go.
Have your staff do that? Maybe you can contact your staff to do that if you don't mind.
What do you say?
Do you contact your staff to give them my contact information if you don't mind?
Yeah, dude, I'll take care of it. I totally forgot about it.
I know you want to discuss one quick thing. I hope your father's doing better. I know you don't want to really talk about it, but I know you like to discuss it. But he's in my prayers.
I appreciate it. I tell you what, he's at a stage in his life where I think there's only so much as far as him getting better. There are going to be good days. There are going to be bad days. My father's suffering from, kind of like an end of life type of situation. He doesn't have anything that is necessarily going to kill him today or tomorrow, but he's just not the person that he was, unfortunately. And
but not only he's suffering, you're suffering too, going back and forth, and you're suffering too. Am I right or wrong?
Say it again.
You're suffering too. You're a good son. I mean, you're suffering going back and forth. You probably have all kinds of bills. I mean, I can imagine how you're suffering too.
Well, you know what? That's part of life. That's just part of the cycle of life, and it is what it is. You just have to deal with it.
Your father, he's live another 5 to 10 years. I mean, that's very possible.
It's possible. If he did in this state, it would be very difficult for him. So, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe, sometimes he kind of snaps out of it a little bit, and he's more manageable for himself and for, the people around him. But I definitely see that he's suffering emotionally. And, not that I want to see my father pass away, but, being realistic and being compassionate, I don't know. He doesn't seem to have much enjoyment in life right now.
So if he has no quality of life, it's not worth it. If he has a poor quality of life, it's not worth it. It's not the quantity of life, it's the quality of life. Do you agree with that, Spencer?
Well, I agree. Every once in a while he kind of snaps out of it a little bit, and he kind of, he gets a glimmer in his eye, and he'll say something, and he'll smile or say something funny, and then he'll be more lucid again. And then there are times when he just, there's no real communication. So it's, it is what it is. It is what it is. My goal is to make sure that he's comfortable, that he gets to stay in his home, and that he's cared for to the best of his ability. We're very lucky that we have a great woman who loves my father very much, has stayed by his side, plus we have help in the house.
Well, that's obvious, Spencer, because a lot of sons would never do what you do, man. Going back and forth, helping your father out. I mean, you don't have much money. You help him with as much as you can. You're a very rare breed, man, and I really applaud you, Spencer, for that.
Well, I do the best that I can, bro. I do the best that I can.
You do? You're a good son. You're a real mensch, man. You're a real git mensch. I got to say that.
Well, I appreciate it. Listen, guys, I got to go. Joe, thank you so much for hanging out.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And please do me a favor. Please have your staff forward the information to Artista, please.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
And I wish you well with your father. I know how you're suffering, man. Believe me.
Well,
you're a hell of a sufferer, and you're suffering your father. I know how it is.
Dude, I'll be okay. All right, guy. Thanks so much. I'm going to hang up, all right?
Thank you, Spencer.
All right, take care. Phone number. I'm not going to give it out again because it's the end of the show. I'm losing my mind. Websites, thebaldtruth.com. You can check out archives of the Bald Truth show and also, special segments that we'll be putting up. A lot of the shows now are not live, but we are putting up more and more segments, live interviews with surgical patients, interviews with physicians. Of course, we have the Bald Truth UK. We're doing a lot more Bald Truth UK programs that will be posted in the coming weeks. You could also check out baldtruthtalk.com message forums if you want to share your hair loss experience and learn from others, or if you're considering surgery or you just want to vent about your hair loss situation. That's really a great place to interact with other hair loss sufferers. That's baldtruthtalk.com. And, of course, the American Hair Loss Association which is the American Hair Loss Association. If you want basic information on hair loss, and if you have any questions, you're a woman dealing with hair loss, there's a lot of great information on there for you as well. So until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.